What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey Millard. So tonight is Game 3 of the World Series. The series is currently tied up 1-1 after the first two games of Texas. Game 3 is tonight. Arizona made their first trip back to the World Series since 2001. This World Series has the lowest combined win total in World Series history. 174 wins in the regular season between these two teams, which could be part of the reason that Game 1 did have the lowest ratings of just 9 million viewers, which is the lowest since the 2020 pandemic World Series. In last year's Game 1 between the Philadelphia Phillies and Houston Astros, had 2 more million viewers, 11.5 million viewers. So I think part of the reason could be that it's two teams that nobody really expected in the World Series this year. And if you look at where these two teams were 2 years ago, Texas was 60-102, Arizona was 52-110. They had a combined record of 112 and 212 2 years ago, and now they're both in World Series, which just proves that you can turn things around in a couple years in the MLB. Just by being aggressive, developing some young talent, and also going out and spending all the money like Texas did, which Arizona's not spending as much money as Texas, but Texas was very aggressive over the last couple seasons in free agency. Arizona became the second biggest preseason long shot to win the pennant since 2000. The second biggest preseason long shot to win the NL pennant since 2000. So nobody saw them making it here. And now it's the second year in a row that the number 6 seed in the NL has made it to the World Series. In each of the last 2 seasons, which these are the first 2 seasons that the playoffs have expanded to 12 games, we have seen the number 6 seed make it to the World Series. Which brings into question whether or not the regular season matters. A lot of people are talking about that, saying you don't have to be good in the regular season, you just have to be good in the playoffs. But you want to be good in the playoffs so that when you get to the playoffs, you don't have to really turn things up and figure things out in the playoffs. And the way I feel about it is this. The case will always be the same. No matter how many playoff teams there are, 10 or 12, 8, whatever it may be, the hottest team typically wins. Whoever gets hot in the playoffs typically wins, regardless of record in the regular season and regardless of how many playoff teams there are. Arizona got hot in the playoffs, and Texas got hot in the playoffs, and now they're both in the World Series. This is Texas' first trip back to the World Series since losing in 2010 and 2011. They've never won a World Series, so I'm rooting for them to win this year. I didn't get to record before Game 1, but I think everybody knows, if you listen to the podcast, I was rooting for Texas, and my prediction before the series began was Texas in 6 games. But you can't discredit Arizona. They're a team that loves to play hard, they love to battle, and I'm happy they beat the Phillies. The Phillies, they were an underdog against, and they found a way to battle. The Arizona Diamondbacks won Game 7 in Philadelphia, and they found themselves down at 2 points in the series. They were down 2-0, and then Philly let them come back and tie it up 2-2. Then the Phillies got a 3-2 lead, going back to Philly, and the Diamondbacks won Game 6 and Game 7 at Citizens Bank Park, and now in the World Series. And it's on the Phillies for losing that lead twice. They lost a lead in that playoff series twice. The Phillies needed to win Game 6. I said in my preview that if they didn't win Game 6, they're going to be in trouble. And once it got to Game 7, I knew Arizona was going to win. In Game 7, the wheels came off for their offense. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, and Trey Turner, they were combined 2 of 19 with 7 strikeouts in Game 7. The Phillies needed those 5 guys to be better. Those 5 guys are making $119 million this season. The Diamondbacks' entire roster right now is getting $117 million. Those 5 guys needed to play better. And then in Game 6 and Game 7, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, and Bryce Harper were combined 1 for 28. 1 for 28 between those 4 guys in Game 6 and Game 7. They needed those guys to be better. As for the Rangers, they've really figured things out in the playoffs. Their power has really shown. They've hit a home run in 13 straight postseason games, which is actually the longest in their franchise postseason history. Adolis Garcia has been a big reason that their power has been showing in the playoffs. He has now 8 home runs in the postseason, and he's going from 4th in the lineup to 3rd in the lineup in tonight's game. Tonight, it'll be Brandon Pfaadt on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's 0-0 in the playoffs with a 2.7 ERA this year. Max Scherzer, he's on the mound for the Texas Rangers, a 9.45 ERA and 6 2/3 innings pitched in 2 postseason starts this year. For Arizona, Brandon Pfaadt went against Texas in his MLB debut on May 3rd. He went 4 2/3 innings, giving up 9 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, a walk, and 4 home runs. Even though he did struggle in the regular season, he has really turned things on in the postseason. He did win Game 7 for Arizona over the Phillies, and before the game, he had a great quote. He was just so calm. When he was asked about how he was going to prepare his mindset before that game, he said this: "I'll talk to people, I'll eat whatever, I'm chill." And he showed that in that game in Game 7. He came up big, got them a big win, and now he's on the mound again tonight and has a chance to give Arizona a 2-1 lead in the World Series. As for Scherzer, he went up against Arizona once this season, and that was when he was playing for the Mets on July 4th. He went 6 innings, giving up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 3 home runs allowed. He has 7-8 in his postseason career with a 3.86 ERA in 29 appearances. I think Texas will win this game 5-4, and I think Max Scherzer will have a big night tonight. He has struggled in his 2 postseason starts this year, but I think with this being the World Series, I think he's going to show up tonight in a big way. And the Rangers really have to figure things out. They barely won Game 1, and then they got blown out in Game 2. Game 1, they were saved by Corey Seager. He had a big 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning with 1 out to tie the game at 5-5, and then Adolis Garcia hit his 8th home run of the postseason to win the game in the bottom of the 11th, and that ends up being a big reason that they're 1-1 right now. Because without Corey Seager, they're down 0-2 right now and facing a potential 3-0 deficit if they were to lose tonight. But they were saved by Corey Seager, and then Garcia came up big in the 11th inning. And Garcia's been great. In Game 1, he had a home run, had 2 RBIs and a stolen base. He has been their MVP of the postseason. Then in Game 2, the Rangers' offense went cold. They had only 4 hits. Arizona had 16 hits. Merrill Kelly was great on the mound for Arizona. He went 7 innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts on 89 pitches. Jordan Montgomery was hit pretty hard for the Texas Rangers. He went 6 innings, 4 earned runs, 9 hits allowed, no strikeouts and a walk. As for Marcus Semien, he had 1 hit in that game. Corey Seager was 0 for 4, so they needed those 2 guys to step up. Texas' only run in that game came off of a Mitch Garver home run, so obviously the offense has to be better tonight. Arizona's led in that one by Tommy Pham, who was 4 for 4 with 2 runs scored and 2 doubles. He had the chance to be the first player in World Series history to go 5 for 5, but instead of taking that opportunity, he decided to give his last at bat to Jace Peterson, which just shows how much he cares for his teammates. He cared more about his teammate getting a postseason at bat in the World Series than he did going 5 for 5 in the World Series. And I respect Tommy Pham for that, because I'd always rather win the game than care about my stats, and that's the same way he saw it. He's looking out for his teammates, hoping that they get a little bit of their own. Getting an at-bat in the World Series is obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he was just happy that they were going to win the game, and also seeing his teammate get an at-bat that he wasn't expecting. Jace Peterson probably wasn't expecting to get an at-bat at that point. So my prediction for tonight's game, I get the Rangers winning 5-4, and tonight's an interesting night. This is every sports fan's dream, is tonight. It's the ultimate sports equinox. We have 11 NBA games going on, 9 NHL games. The Bruins are playing, the Celtics are playing. We have Monday Night Football between the Raiders and Lions, and also Game 3 of the World Series between the D-backs and the Texas Rangers. You got to love this time of year. I'm excited for tonight's game. We'll see what happens in it. Anyways, it will conclude this episode. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. As always, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good one. I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.